This is ANN News Brief.
Nearly 5,000 persons in DR Congo have died of measles in an outbreak since the beginning of the year. This is in addition to the current Ebola crisis rocking the country. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is battling the worst measles outbreak amid immense logistical challenges. The Ministry of Health says there have been more than 240,000 cases since January, making it by far the worst year in a decade. Cases of the contagious disease have now spread to all of the country's 26 provinces. Although 4 million children have been vaccinated, experts say less than half of the country's children have been reached, and there are not enough vaccines available. Poor road network is also making it difficult for health workers to access every community. Zimbabwe is holding high-level talks with the European Union EU officials in an effort to improve relations after almost 20 years. Their relations soared under former President Robert Mugabe's government. The EU imposed sanctions in 2002 on individuals and businesses because of human rights abuses and the controversial land reform program. Current President Emmerson Mnangagwa has pledged to repair diplomatic ties. During the talks, the EU is expected to raise concerns about growing intimidation, harassment, and physical attacks on human rights activists, trade unions, civil society representatives, and opposition politicians. The talks among ministers could also lead to the resumption of financial assistance to Zimbabwe, a country in serious economic crisis. In a joint statement issued after a meeting with Zimbabwean ministers, the EU reiterated its commitment to support political and economic reforms, including the fight against corruption. The European Union said on Thursday there is need for national dialogue to resolve what it calls an increasingly deteriorating democratic space in Zimbabwe. Last month, President Emmerson Mnangagwa described EU and US sanctions on Zimbabwe as a cancer sapping the economy. We'll be right back.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Guinea-Bissau is heading to the polls on Sunday for presidential election that many hope will usher in calm after weeks of political turmoil, including violent protests, an alleged coup attempt, and the emergence of two competing prime ministers. The vote will pit President Jose Maria Vaz against old rival and former Prime Minister Domingos Simios Pereira and 10 other candidates seeking to draw a line on the 5 years of turbulence under Vaz, characterized by a barely functioning parliament. Guinea-Bissau has suffered 9 coups or attempted coups since independence from Portugal in 1974. The vote represents a milestone of sorts for the country. Regional bloc ECOWAS had warned of the threat of civil war and urged the authorities not to allow the election to be derailed. That is ANN News Brief at 1. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I'm Lucy Adeyemi.